So let's go ahead and get started, everybody. I couldn't be more excited, as I said earlier, about today's session because with over 600 of you registered for the event, it's really clear to us that there's a strong interest in these postage promotions. And when you registered, you might remember we asked you for your top question. And what we did is we analyzed those responses, and 3 themes bubbled to the top. Number one, what we were hearing, and it wasn't even close, this was by far, is how do I actually do this stuff? You're asking for the mechanics. How do I register? How do I navigate the BCG? What's the approval timeline? What are the files that I need to upload? All of the how-to questions. What are the steps to do that? And we heard you on that. That's exactly why Carl, who I'll introduce you to in a moment, that's exactly why Carl's here. He's going to walk you through that today. The second thing we heard is, who does what? I'm a printer. What do I do? What does my client do? Or I'm the mail owner. I'm the one responsible for the mail. What does my printer do? What do I do? And there's some confusion out there about that in terms of, can I register on behalf of my clients? And who gets the discount? Who claims the discount? So we're going to work to clear that up as well. And then thirdly, we heard, do I even qualify? Some of you are asking questions about your mail volume. Does my mail volume qualify? Or does my mail type make me eligible for a certain promotion? Is there a minimum? Does my paper qualify? A bunch of questions like that. And so I want to make sure we answer all of those as well. And then lastly, the last group of you said, hey, I'm just here to learn. I'm just getting started, which to me says that some of you don't even know what questions to ask. You're just getting started here in your journey. And these are the questions that we're going to be answering today. That's exactly why we're here. We're not making any assumptions about where you're entering this conversation. We're going to try to simplify everything as much as we can and give you the clarity that you need to move forward. So one of the experts that I have with me today, I want you to say hi to Carl. Carl is Program Manager of Products and Services at USPS. And his role, he directly supports the mailing promotions, everything that we're talking about today. And he's the one who's going to be walking us through the how-to details. He also serves as the program manager for Direct Effect. And Carl, I'm going to ask you a little bit later on today to tell us what that's all about, because that's an interesting program that USPS is using to reach a new generation or the next generation of marketers and teach them about the value of direct mail. Super important in our industry. Carl, thanks for joining us today. How are you today?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Really awesome. Yeah, glad to have you. You were with us last time, right? In the last webinar?
That's correct.
So this is, I think, at least your second or maybe your third appearance in this event, and we appreciate you and USPS and all you do to help industry continue to learn and continue to save with these postage promotions. Next up is Chris Lean, EVP of Postal Affairs for BCC and Chairman of the Board at the National Postal Forum. And Chris is passionate about helping you, MSPs, PSPs, mail owners, cut through all this complexity, navigate postal regulations, avoid pitfalls, and maximizing every available discount. You want to know, how do I feel confident talking to my customers about this? How do I set them up? How do I make money using this? Chris is an invaluable resource in that regard. Welcome back, Chris. I know you've been here many times with us. It's great to see you back with us.
Thank you, Dave. I'm excited to be here. Looking forward to this conversation. And I hope to see all of you in Phoenix at the National Postal Forum, by the way.
Heck yes, folks. If you're not going to NPF, please let us know. We'll get you there. And finally, last but not least, AJ Leo with Silvamo. And really, folks, the reason that you're all here, because around 2 years ago, AJ and I were talking, and she saw the need for help in the industry to help everyone understand what these postage promotions are all about. There's a lot of geeky jargon that we in the industry use, like BCG. What the heck is that? But you need clear, simple instructions and strategies to help you and your clients qualify for these promotions. We all know that we're getting budget pressures, but how do you actually do it? And so that's why she's leaned into this, along with Silvamo, of course, to help us learn what we need to know in order to take advantage of these promotions. AJ, you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it. Excited to be here. Excited to see a lot of our customers in the chat, and hopefully we can learn a lot today.
We are going to do that. Thank you, AJ. And of course, I'm your moderator today. My day job is as president of Mindfire. We have a platform that allows all of you to orchestrate direct mail with digital channels, and most importantly, makes direct mail measurable with real-time tracking and crystal clear attribution back to revenue. Super important in today's age. And it's really an honor to be able to bring together the best of the best here in venues like this. We do this very regularly to help the industry move forward. So if this is your first time in one of these sessions with us, we want to make sure we stay connected with you, especially on LinkedIn. Carissa is going to drop our LinkedIn profiles there in the chat for all of you, and love for you to connect with us there and stay in touch with everything that we're doing to help all of you. Carissa, drop that into the chat and let's make some new friends there on LinkedIn. Now, in addition to Carl, Chris, and AJ, we also have USPS representatives behind the scenes who are going to answer questions for you. So if you look at your screen, take a look at your screen right now. I want to make sure you see this. The little chat there is for all of us to engage, talk, and give real-time feedback. I'm going to be asking questions and asking you to do certain things throughout the event. That's what that's for. But if you have a specific question, then go to the Q&A and use that to add your question. When you go in there, do a quick scan, see if maybe someone else has asked your question, because if they have, just give it a little upvote, and that'll help us see which of the questions are the most important so we can prioritize the amount of time we spend answering those questions when we get into real-time Q&A, okay? I always remind you, this is for you. I want you to be selfish. I want you to ask your questions because all of these experts are here to serve you, all right? So with that, here's how we're going to run today. First, I don't want to make any assumptions that you all know what the postage promotions are. So I'm going to ask Chris to give a very quick overview of what the postage promotions are, just in case you're entering this for the first time. Second, Chris and I were together in Washington last week at USPS headquarters, and we picked up some new insights around how the postage promotions performed last year, 2025, compared to the year before. And there's some data there that you're going to want to see. So we're going to quickly touch on that. And then third, once you have that context, we're going to get into each of the postage promotions one by one. We'll talk about what they are, how much you save, and then show you some quick examples. With that foundation laid, then Carl's going to go into the Business Customer Gateway, the BCG, and show you how do you set this all up. And then we're going to leave time at the end for real-time Q&A. So make sure you stick around and that you're here for that so that we get every one of your questions answered. All right? Does that sound like a plan? I want to know who's ready to get started. Give me a yes in the chat if you're ready to get started. Come on, Deborah, I see you here. Oh, geez, it's coming quickly now. Matt, Beth, give me a yes. Oh, there's Brenda Manos, another USPS advocate, huge friend of the show here. Tammy, Lynn, Jeff, give me a yes. Come on, all those yeses need to keep coming in here. That is fantastic to see. Let's get going. Chris, I'm going to come over to you first. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. On the screen, we're looking at the 2026 postage promotions calendar. And folks, if this is your first time hearing about the postage promotions, or maybe you need a quick refresher, Chris, tell us in simple English, what's the opportunity here and why should we care about this?
Yeah, thank you, Dave. So two things right up front. First of all, these promotions have the concept of a promotion, I should say, with the Postal Service has been around actually for a couple of years. So if you are new to this, I want you to know this is not brand new, but it's not developed in a vacuum. These promotions and concepts are all part of the collaborative communications that we're doing as part of the Mailers Technical Advisory Committee, or MTAC, and there's a specific user group 8. And in that user group, the industry and the Postal Service talk about ways that we can leverage the power that direct mail has to be able to enhance and excite and delight the end recipient with it. There are a couple of different promotion opportunities in 2026, and it's a whole year of opportunity for you and your customers. It starts with integrated technology. This is all about digital and physical working together because they do work better together. So integrated technology leverages that digital and the physical together in some exciting ways, and the Postal Service gives you a very wide swath on how you're going to be able to come up with technologies to do that we'll hear about later. Tactile, sensory, and interactive. When you touch a mail piece, it touches you back. And with TSI, this is all about interacting with that powerful physical piece of mail, exciting all 4 senses of your brain, your sight, your haptics, your sense of smell, just even the sound of the mail piece as you flip through those pages on that. TSI is all about working with the mail piece and taking advantage of that unique ability that physical marketing has versus digital, although again, better together. Continuous contact. We know that a lot of marketing campaigns take multiple touch points to be effective. That's what this is about. Continually building upon messages as part of a theme that enhance the overall campaign. First class mail advertising, it's all about leveraging that power of first class mail and adding advertising to that. The Postal Service produces their household diary study. I know they changed the name, but in my mind, I've been reading it for years. That's how I always think of it. Their annual household diary study, and it clearly shows when you put advertising on first class mail, it works. So that's what that one's all about. And then the one, Dave, that makes my socks roll up and down every day when I look at this are catalog insights. This leverages catalogs to be able to take advantage of what that unique piece of direct mail provides. Bringing that personal piece inside. Folks, here's the key on all of this. A year worth of opportunity, 5% discount on each of these, right? So you're getting the postage discount, but you're also, more than that, you're building the purpose of the piece. And when you add on things like informed delivery, the digital impression that goes along with that physical piece, and sustainability, right? With that sustainable part, that paper is a renewable resource and we can leverage that part of it. Think about that. Anywhere from 7, in the case of Catalog Insights, up to 12.5% potential for everyone involved with this. It's huge. It's a big opportunity, and I'm excited that we're going to go into the details on this.
Chris, as I was talking to folks registering for the event, I did hear somebody say to me, hey, look, aren't these things just 2%? Is the juice really worth the squeeze? And there are a lot of people out there that think this is only 2%. And what you just said is really important. 5% on the low end up to 12%, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just the postage discounts, right, Dave? This is all about enhancing the value of the mail piece. And we see it time and again, and we can measure it now, right? You've heard me say it before in the other webinars. The days of spray and pray are over. We have direct attribution of the mail piece, and we can measure the efficacy of these campaigns. That's really what these promotions are about. Let's have that conversation with the brands, with the mail owners, and remind them that if you really want to maximize your campaign, you need direct mail as part of that component.
I see people asking if this is being recorded. Absolutely. We will send this as a resource to you. If you need this calendar, drop the word calendar there in the chat. I want to make sure we get that to you as well. This will be our guide for the conversation today. So this is the high-level overview of what the promotions are. And AJ, you with Silvamo have been working on a campaign that I know everyone here can participate in, where by signing up, for free, by the way, they're going to get a year-long set of direct mail pieces that illustrate each of these promotions. So tell us more about what you're doing there to help the community learn what's available here.
Yes, super excited to talk to you about our playbook, which we'll walk through it today. Just got mine in the mail, so you can check your informed delivery to see when yours is coming. So if you did not provide your mailing address, put it in the chat. We'll make sure you get a kit, but we'll talk through each of the pieces. I see a lot of people asking for the calendar. Inside this piece, if you can see it, we have the calendar. So that will be in the piece, but we'll also get you the slides, the recording, all of that. But really excited for you guys to get this. We encourage you not only to use it for inspiration, to make tweaks to your direct mail, but to show it to your customers, to inspire them on some ways to change their direct mail pieces to take advantage of the promotion. But also, Chris talks a lot about the purpose of the piece to really help drive engagement with some of these tweaks that we're recommending to get your response rate higher.
How fun is this chat, AJ? It's just going nuts right now, folks. If you haven't dropped in your address, do that there in the chat. Or you know what, Carissa, why don't you drop in my email and AJ's email there into the chat in case folks want to send their home address and they don't want it displayed to the world. We'll make sure that we keep it private. Or maybe we'll stop by and do a little house visit there, AJ. What do you think?
Yeah. And if you did sign up, all the kits went out Monday. So you should be getting it any day. And again, it should be in your informed delivery emails.
Perfect. Carissa just dropped in my email, and I'm sure AJ's is coming in. You're going to have to look between all those addresses and find it there, but make sure you get on the list. Now, we set the foundation for the postage promotions, right? Chris walked through the 5 base promotions and then the 2 add-ons. Chris, when we were together, you and I were together last week in Washington, we got some data from the USPS around the adoption of these mailing promotions in 2025 compared to the year prior. What did we learn there?
Yeah, so first of all, I really appreciate our postal partners willing to share with us the information that they can and to keep us apprised on this. And they know that we're on the front line in a lot of cases, particularly for BCC, with the mail service providers. Of the nearly 6,000 customers that we have with BCC, the vast majority, I'm talking like 85%, are mail service providers. So I know many of you are out there trying to take advantage of these promotions. Here's the good news. It's working. Keep doing what you're doing and do even more of it. You've been listening to what Dave and AJ and Carl and I and many others have been saying. And what this chart is showing us is that from 2024 to 2025, a 76% increase in submissions to the mailing promotions portal occurred. 76%. That means that you are taking advantage of these promotions. You are starting to be engaging with your customers. And so what are some of the things that you are putting in for a submission to be pre-approved with the Postal Service? The informed delivery add-on. So kudos
Yep.
to all of you, right? That's free. It's free digital attribution. So you're starting to take advantage of that. And I applaud all of you. You're taking advantage of the integrated technology promotion with that. You're taking advantage of the sustainability add-on. So each one of these colors reflects how you're submitting portions of promotions. But the overall number, the key in this is that 76%. That tells me that yes, you are beginning to engage. I want to build on that. We want to enhance that. But more importantly, I want to simplify that for you. And I want to make it a lot easier for you to be able to do that. BCC, stay tuned. We'll talk more in the webinar. BCC is poised to provide a tool that's going to help make promotions and the informed delivery even easier to register and track.
Yeah, one thing that stands out to me here, Chris, I want to speak to some of the printers here in the room.
Yeah.
If you haven't been talking to your customers about the promotions, or if you're afraid to talk to them because you're not aware or understanding what the ins and outs of them are, first of all, that's what we're here today to help you do. But second, look at the data here. What this tells me is that if you're not talking to your customers about this, there's probably another printer out there that's going to be knocking on the door of your customer saying, hey, did you know, by the way, that you could be saving 5 to 12%? Now, maybe some of you in the room are like, of course, I talk to all of my customers about that. Right. But you'd be surprised how often Chris and I and AJ and Carl, we hear from folks, I didn't even know this was available. Chris?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I'm trying to tee up some of my plant tours this year, going to see my customers, walking through the floor. But I tell you, in the last couple of years, when I've had the privilege to be able to walk through the plants, I'm looking at pieces that I know would qualify. And I'd ask them, is that doing the promotion? No. And so we want to simplify that. We want to make it easier. All of you should be doing this because it's an opportunity, again, not just the postage discounts. It's about improving that value of mail. And what we also heard last week is the tactile, sensory, and interactive. And again, this is one of my favorite promotions because I love the fact that you're interacting with the piece. It has such a tremendous value. You're starting to get more creative, folks, and I applaud you. Initially in 2024, it was all about the sensory treatments. And I get it, right? So having a scented mail piece, yes, that's very powerful. The olfactory nerves really stimulate a deep impression in the brain when you've got that. And then some of the area of regions of interest on the mail piece where you can feel that. We're seeing more of that now. So in 2025, last year, we're seeing interactive elements on the mail piece. That's where that clean release card comes in. Or maybe when you open up the piece, it pops open and stuff. Different ways that you interact with the mail piece. Inks. Doing different treatments to the surface of the mail, that substrate that, again, excite and delight the end recipient because the haptic nerves are so sensitive on our fingers. And so I love the TSI. I love the creativity with that. I'm looking forward to 2026 to see what else we can do to maximize that value of a piece that touches you back when you touch it. And when we look at the integrated technology, if we dive into some of that, how we're, again, building digital and physical together, right? Because they work better together. Artificial intelligence, just over half of the technologies that are being used. Artificial intelligence is big on that. Last year was all about using AI to help you with the messaging on it. This year, we want to see more of that AI being used for the actual graphics, the creation of the piece, that part of it. We want to build on that. Mobile shopping, that works as well, right? If I'm holding a mail piece and I've got my cell phone or my smart device in my other hand, what a great opportunity to engage the gray matter between my ears so that I'm starting to do things here and really create that cycle. And then I'm also seeing some growth in the voice assistants, the integration with voice assistants. That's the Amazon Alexa, right? And the Google Dots and things like that. It's a great way to be able to interact with the piece. And finally, love the sustainability certification submissions, right? This is absolutely the industry stepping up and saying, hey, we have an opportunity to leverage the sustainability, the renewable resource that paper has, right? Because paper is such a powerful medium. It's not just the substrate to carry the message. It's another vehicle that interacts with the end recipient, right? And you can tell that, folks. When you feel the weight of the paper and you feel that surface, you know what that has on it. So I love that people are taking advantage of the sustainability. And I know that's a big part of what AJ is going to be sharing with us in the webinar today.
AJ, when Chris and I were together and we saw the stat come up on the screen, we both looked at each other and I whispered AJ over to him and he did the same back to me. And we were like, this is exciting. You know, one of the things that I know is a big part of your mission and the reason for all of this is because you do care and Sylvamo cares deeply about the sustainability aspect of our industry. 1 out of 3 direct mail pieces are using Sylvamo in some way. Is that right?
Right. Yes.
Yep. So this is a big deal, folks. And AJ is going to talk to you more about how you can take advantage of the discount here in just a moment. Now, Carl, you ready, man? I'm coming back to you. You ready?
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
On the screen, I put back the postage promotions calendar. And man, I saw a bunch of you asking for the calendar. We'll make sure to get that over to you. This is the same calendar we looked at just a second ago to ground us in what the promotions are. And what we're going to do now is walk through each of these in a little bit more detail. I wanted to set the foundation for you, give you a quick overview of what they are. And we're going to go through one step deeper now and take a look at what each of these promotions enables you to do. So with that, Carl, the first one up on the screen here is integrated technology.
Awesome. As Chris went through the calendar earlier, he gave you a brief snapshot of what each of these promotions is trying to do. And just as a reminder, these promotions are all about enhancing the value of your mail piece, because that's a situation where everybody wins, right? You have a higher quality mail piece, you might get a better response rate, and then you see the power of mail, right? So it's a win all around by utilizing these promotions. And we'll start going through integrated tech, and I believe AJ is going to show examples of each of these promotions after I quickly go through them. But so integrated tech is one of our most popular promotions. It's very unique in terms that it has a custom promotion period. And so when I say promotion period, that's when you're earning the discount on your mailings. So there's a time where you can register in advance of that promotion period. So this is one where you can align it with your strategy and align that with your mailings so that you can fully optimize your promotions calendar utilizing integrated tech. So what's integrated tech about? Integrated tech is all about leveraging technology such as the ones on the screen, augmented reality, virtual reality. There's a lot of things you can really do with mail that people might not have thought of. Really exciting techniques, but it's also accessible as well. You can utilize things such as near field communication, NFC, AI, something that's new into the IT fold, right? You can utilize AI to assist you in that design process, right? It's still, you have to get, everyone works together, right? It's not just AI. You can't just say, go make me a mail piece. There's specific parameters behind it, but it's still implementing and supplementing your design and your mail piece to make it stand out a little bit more. And then one thing I also want to highlight is mobile shopping. So mobile shopping is all about creating a mobile optimized experience so you can go to a site, make a purchase easy, right? No more days of going to a website and you can't read it because it's different on your phone versus desktop. And so this is a promotion that's available for both first class mail and marketing mail, and it is a 5% discount.
Awesome. 5%. That's fantastic. AJ, example that you have here.
Yeah, so this is going to be the first piece in the playbook that you receive. And our piece shows an example of augmented reality. So you scan the QR code that you see there, and that boxer comes to life. So a really great way to integrate that technology and create some engagement with your piece. On Chris's data that he showed, the integrated technology service request improved from 5 to 16%. So folks are starting to use it. Mobile shopping was 45% and AI was 50%. But don't sleep on that. And the voice integration, the voice assistant, that's an easy one. And again, it creates that engagement and really improves the purpose of your piece. So
AJ,
again, use this piece
go ahead.
To get inspired to make some changes.
Yeah, and in the last webinar that we did, folks, we did a demo actually of how AI and direct mail are coming together where you can actually, as crazy as it sounds, you can actually speak to this direct mail piece and it will speak back to you audibly where you can hear it. Now, you might think I'm crazy, but if you want to see that, if you want to see a quick video of that, drop the word talking mail or drop the phrase talking mail into the chat. You want to see that? And I'll make sure that you get a quick video that shows you what I'm talking about. It's the latest technology that we're bringing to the table here where you can combine direct mail with AI and actually speak to this piece in a way that is completely transforming how direct mail interacts for the consumer. Oh, yeah, I see talking mail coming in crazy here. We'll make sure we'll get that over to you. All right, Carl, next we have TSI, Tactile Sensory Interactive. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so TSI is all about engaging the senses, whether that's touch, sound, scent, texture. There's a lot of popular treatments here. A lot of you are probably familiar with embossing, for example. You know, anytime we can feel a difference in that piece, that's really going to leave an impression on the recipient's memory, right? It's going to make that piece stand out in the mailbox. So there's a lot of great ways to do that. You can really be creative here with your piece. So this promotion is also unique in that when we review it, it requires a physical sample. But whenever we send out those, whenever you submit a service request, which we'll talk about later, you'll get more instructions on how to do that. And so this one runs from January 1st to June 30th. So that's new. In the past, it started in February. We've heard industry, they wanted to take advantage of this promotion earlier in the year, given they have more flexibility with the IT promotion. And so this is another 6-month promotion for first class and marketing mail. and again, a 5% discount.
One of the things that's cool, Carl, that you did at USPS or the USPS has done is standardize all of the discounts to 5%. In years prior, there was variation there, but I think that's super helpful. It makes it easy for all of us to remember. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
I know that was all you. AJ, you have an example of this as well.
So another play in our playbook is this piece that you'll find. We used a spot UV on the squiggle there that creates that multi-sensory experience that Carl and Chris have talked about. So yes, please take a look at this. And I've seen some comments saying they want to share some of this with their customers. So make sure you show it to your customers. Get them inspired.
That's very cool. All right, next up, Carl, we have continuous contact.
So continuous contact was new in 2025 and will continue in 2026. So this is something that a lot of mailers are probably already doing with their mail campaigns, and it's really to incentivize best practices of hitting the same household or recipient multiple touch points. Right? It's a lot easier for a consumer to take action once they've built a little bit of trust with a brand. And so this promotion helps to incentivize that marketing behavior. And so if you send an initial mailing, any follow-up mailings you send alongside that campaign will earn this discount. And so this one doesn't have as much to do with the content. So there's a lot of options, a lot of different ways you can go with this promotion in terms of what's there. And so it just has to build on and logically have a connection to that initial piece to earn the discount. So this one is exclusive to marketing mail and will run from April 1st until the end of the year. So this is one of the longer promotions because it gives you that lead time to have this longer campaign with multiple touches.
Yeah, and this is an example. Chris, you and I talk about this all the time. So many printers out there, so many mail owners and brands. This is what you're already doing. You're hitting people multiple times, and yet, Carl, they're not taking advantage of this.
Yeah, this is a promotion that we're really looking to get more participation in. We do feel a lot of mailers would qualify for it. You do have to have some proof that you are doing this all in one campaign, but we'll work with you to establish what would qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. So AJ, you have an example of this one as well, correct?
Yeah, so we've got in the kit, we've got a 6x11 postcard. But more importantly, what we're going to be doing throughout this year is sending a series of postcards to all the addresses we got to remind you of upcoming deadlines and what you can do to prepare for these promotions. So look for that. We've got our first one coming out pretty soon because the continuous contact registration starts February 15th. So that will be the first one in the series this year, just to make sure you're starting to think about it and plan your pieces accordingly.
Chris, I'm going to throw this question to you. I see a couple of variations coming in here. Just to confirm, we can stack the promotions, but we can't go over 12%. Is that correct? And then Ronald saying, can discounts be stacked? Ceiling limit on amounts. Chris, real quick, answer that question for everyone.
So the short answer is no. Each promotion stands on its own. Okay, so you can't do, for example, integrated technology and tactile sensory and interactive. So you have to pick one. Okay. But what does get stacked, if you will, if you want to use that term, are those add-ons, right? So I could have a TSI mailing, tactile sensory interactive. It may have other treatments, right? That might be part of a different promotion, but you got to claim one. And then on top of that, you got the informed delivery and then the sustainability. So that's really what we're talking about here. So no, you cannot stack the promotions. But as I said before, you've got a whole year of opportunity. So as you work with your customers, as you start talking about them, start planning your year now so you can take advantage of what makes sense at that particular time.
Yep. So folks, let us know if that answered your question there in terms of how you can stack these. Carl, first class mail advertising, teach us about this one, sir.
Sure. So this one's pretty straightforward. It's almost exactly what it is. First class mail is mail that a lot of people see as important, right? And it's something that gets a lot more opens. And we realize that sometimes this can be with things like bills or statements. So there's a lot of different things you can do with first class mail. But really all we want to see here is that you're utilizing this high value first class piece and adding a marketing message to it. So you're using this first class mail piece as a billboard, for example. That's how I like to describe it. So this is a shorter promotion. It runs in the latter half of the year from September 1st to December 31st. And as mentioned, the discount for most of the promotions is 5%. And there is one promotion that's 10%. We'll get to that a little bit later because I see a couple questions on how you get to 12%.
We'll cover that in a moment. Yeah. Your math isn't mathing, Carl, as AJ said yesterday. But no, you're going to see exactly how it maths out, folks. Back in the day, Chris, we used to call this trans promo, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Yep.
the transactional promotional piece together. But really, first, again, I'll go back to that household diary study, which if you're not reading it every year, you really need to. It's
Yep.
published free, it's available every year, but they do talk about the enhancement to the open rate for first class mail if you got advertising with it.
AJ.
Yep, just another tool in our toolbox here. We have an example, but the nice thing about this one is we do have some marketing messages to think about. So some little tweaks again to make to this piece and to take advantage of this promotion. It doesn't have to be transactional mail. So keep that in mind as you're planning your campaign.
Fantastic. All right. I want to know from all of you folks here if this promotion that Carl's about to talk about here, one of my favorites, Chris said it as well, if you've heard about this one before. This is the catalog promotion. For many of you, this is probably the first time you're hearing about this. This is the big one with 10%. Carl, what is this?
Okay, so the catalog insights promotion is really just almost product based for the most part. So we're really looking to see more of these catalogs and learn more about this product line. So we're incentivizing people to utilize them and send them out during this promotion period. All you have to do for this promotion is meet the definition of a catalog. That means it does have to be certain mail classes. For example, this is exclusive to marketing mail. A catalog has to be marketing mail. And there's a couple of other restrictions. Happy to send more info on later. But really, to summarize what we're looking for, it's at least 12 pages, has to have images, ways to purchase these products in the catalog, how it's fulfilled, shipping information. All of those sorts of things have to be available to truly meet this definition of catalog. And this is where that 10% discount comes into play. This promotion, when you're signing up for it and getting approval, you have to provide a little bit more information about how you're utilizing that catalog, just so we can learn more about the product category. But with this 10% discount and then the 2% with add-ons, that's how you can reach that 12%.
AJ, you have an example of a catalog as well, huh?
I do, yes. And this is really a beautiful piece. It's a 20-page catalog. And really the point of this whole kit is to educate you on these promotions, but we also want to educate you on our brands and our products that we make at Sylvamo, the world's paper company. So inside our catalog, we talk about each brand where you can really touch and feel the products that we make. And so it's just a great resource for you too, as you think about what paper you're going to be using for all this mail.
Now, Chris, Carl hinted at this, but one of the things that's interesting to me and that I think is important for everyone to hear about this catalog promotion is why USPS is doing it. Can you share a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so absolutely. And first of all, Carl's correct. There are certain requirements for the definition of a catalog, but I got to tell you, I've seen a lot of catalogs over the years and I love all of them, right? Because I think it's a very powerful thing. It's a lot easier than you may think, right? And that's one of the benefits that the Postal Service does, give it a pretty wide swath. Why? Two reasons. One, the Postal Service is trying to measure catalogs as a group. Okay, does it make sense to have a different postage price for catalogs? Because it gets lost in this broad category that we call flats. So they wanted to try and measure how much catalogs are there. What is a catalog? Really get that definition in there. And two, and this is really a challenge for the industry. Okay, if the Postal Service lowers the postage for catalogs, will we mail more of them? This is all about price elasticity, folks. If the price goes up, we argue, oh, then the volume's going to go down. If the price goes down, is the volume going to go up? We need to measure that part of it. And I got to tell you right now, again, the discount is a whopping 12% when you stack the add-ons and the sustainability. But more importantly, catalogs work. And we've got it measured from studies with the Office of the Inspector General. We've got it measured with direct marketing associations. We know that catalogs work. People enjoy them. It lives on after you've received that catalog, stays in your house, it's interacted with people. And if you saw some of the amazing catalogs that came out during the holiday season, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Page after page of opportunity.
Yep, absolutely. So we're going to move now from those examples to the business customer gateway, but I want to take a breath. I know we went through a lot here, and I want to ask all of you to be vulnerable. I want to ask you to drop a 1 in the chat. If these promotions, if this was the first time you'd heard about these, if this is the first time you'd been through a walkthrough like this, give me a 1 if this was the first time for all of you. Come on, be vulnerable. It's okay. We're just a bunch of friends here. We're all direct mail lovers. There's no reason to hide. Look at the ones coming in, Chris and AJ. What do you think about that?
Love it.
Yeah,
amazing.
It justifies our time here today.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Todd Miller, 1 from Paul. Danielle, Mark says 1. Scott says 4. What does that mean? He's an overachiever. There's another one from Kenneth, 1 from Doug. Thank you, folks. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so Carl, are you ready to have a little BCG fun?
Absolutely.
Okay, you better be. BCG, folks, stands for Business Customer Gateway. Another little question here for some of you. This is an interesting one for us as well. Is this the first time you've ever heard the term BCG or about the Business Customer Gateway? Drop BCG in the chat if this is the first time you're hearing about BCG. I want to know who's hearing about the BCG for the first time. Yeah, that's fascinating. Rob, Harry, Lynn, Danny. Okay, Carl, I'm coming over to you now. Let me know as you want me to advance here and talk to us about the Business Customer Gateway and specifically, how do folks sign up for these promotions?
Sure. So I'm going to talk through 2 things here. One is the business. So both of these kind of live within the Business Customer Gateway, which is currently Postal Service's broader suite of services for business customers. And so there's a couple things that you need to do for success with the promotions. One is that you have to get approval. So that's a review of your content and all your mail pieces. And then you have to do something called registration, which is identifying on the back end and payment systems which of your mailings are claiming the discount. So right before we get started, I do want to go into one quick, really general update here.
This is breaking news, right? This is new?
Yes, this is new. You won't see anything for a little while, but there will be a slight name change to the Mailing Promotions Portal. I'm going to refer to it as the MPP throughout the presentation just for consistency. But I just want to reiterate that there is no impact to any current processes. This is just a name change. It gives us some flexibility in the future to add more offerings to this portal. So you might see that. And so I just wanted to give a heads up there. But Mailing Promotions Portal, My Products Portal, that's the same exact thing, same functionality. This is where you're going to submit pieces for review. And ultimately, you can ask questions and you can get some answers to any promotions questions you got.
This probably applies to those of you who are already familiar with BCG, who are in there on a daily basis. So this is a little heads up for you that the name is going to change, but the acronym is going to stay the same. So customers who haven't used BCG, or if you're trying to get a refresher on it, Carl, you're going to walk us through that now. How do we do this?
Sure. So let's go ahead and just jump in. So the first thing you want to do, and we've included links here, and we're happy to, once we send this out, you'll have access to them. We can send them in chat as well. So first, you need to just log into the gateway. So, if you don't have an account, you would use that sign up process and then go ahead and, that essentially it tells us where you are and identifies where you're going, like who you are and where you are. So you have to have a Business Customer Gateway account. So the first thing you want to do is just sign in. Again, we're going very granular just to show you step by step. We want to really simplify this process for everybody. We know a lot of people can potentially struggle with it. So we want to streamline it and show you that it's not as intimidating as it can sound. Once you log in, you're going to see a button in the top left called Mailing Services, and that's going to give you access to a whole bunch of different things that you might need as a business customer to get your mailings done for your business. And promotions submissions, so I call out 2 things up top here. You have incentive programs. So promotions are within this incentive programs tool for registration. So registration is what I talked about a moment ago. We're going to cover that in the latter half. That's when you're telling us what's participating, what mailings are participating, what permits are being used, what CRIDs are being utilized, all that information. The submissions are within this My Products portal or Mailing Promotions portal, which is highlighted towards the bottom of the screen.
Let's pause there for 1 second, folks. Is that all clear? Carl, just 1 second for everyone. Want to make sure that's clear for everyone. Okay. Let us know if you have any questions there. This is for you, folks. Go ahead, Carl.
Okay. So if you've never gone to that Mailing Promotions portal first, when you go into it, you're going to see something a little bit different. And so on the next slide here, you're going to see what we call the hand raise form. And so this is how you can request an account. This is in a different application, so you will have to create an account. And so this is what you fill out to identify to us your account name. So that, again, you're putting in CRID information, your email, a couple of other items we're going to ask you, such as are you a mail owner, a mail service provider? And then we mentioned that broader business customer gateway earlier. You have to put that account information in here as well. So once you fill this out and you submit it, within a couple of business days, you're going to be enabled for the portal. And so you'll be notified by email, the email you just put on that form previously, if you've gotten access. Occasionally, if there's existing accounts with that email you've used, you might be contacted to clear things up. Otherwise, this is what you're going to get. And then now we're going to jump forward a little bit to I've submitted my form or I already have access. What do things look like? And so that's what's next here. So this is going to look exactly the same whether you have access or not. So that's why I just wanted to clarify. It might look different if you've never gone in there before. But once you've been approved and once you have access and you click on My Products portal, go to Service, that's when you're going to get to the Mailing Promotions portal or the future My Products portal. So there's 4 tabs here. We're going to go through each of them. You have submitting a promotion or incentive. You have My Promotions and Incentives. And then you have questions and then my questions. So I saw in chat to slow down a little bit. So I will slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Here.
Let's take a breath. Let's take a breath. So Sharon, if you have questions, remember we're recording this. You're going to see all of these clicks, but we want to make sure that you're getting this. So we will take a breather here. I'm going to click on Submit Promotion and Incentive there, the first button there, right, Carl? What are we seeing here?
So the first button here, which is titled Submit Promotion or Submit Incentive, this is when you're submitting to the Postal Service samples for review. And so for going back to what we were talking about earlier, there's a number of different promotions being offered. And so in each of those promotions, they have their own rules and own parameters. As we mentioned, for example, TSI requires things such as embossing or texture, whereas integrated tech is on technology focused. So when you go into this Submit Promotions and Incentive section, first thing you're going to do is identify which promotion you would like your sample to be reviewed for. Once you've done that, you're going to provide us with some basic information. Some of these fields will be the same for every promotion, where others will be promotion specific. So you're going to give us a title of the mail piece. This is just so you can identify it a little bit better. You're going to select, in this case, this is the integrated tech promotion. So you're going to select what type of element is on my piece that makes it qualify. And then we give you an opportunity to describe that technology or describe that treatment so that, when this goes to review, a whole team of mail piece design analysts is going to be reviewing these pieces. And so the better your description in that field, the more information you provide to the mail piece design analyst, the easier the review will be and the quicker you're going to get a response. There's a couple things in there as well. There's a few rules unique to mail service providers or being a mail owner that does create some slight differences in the process. And then we do ask that you've read submission guidelines. So we'll talk a little bit more about the guidebooks. We'll send that resource out later. And so we just want you to make sure you've at least taken a look at those requirements first. Once you check that box, you can go ahead and move forward.
Carl, let me pause here one second because there were a lot of questions around who does this? Can I do it on behalf of my customer? I'm the mail service provider. Do I do this for the mail owner? I'm the mail owner. Do I do this instead of my printer? Talk to us just briefly about that checkbox there.
Sure. So for reviewing content and submitting content, we're fairly open to who's doing that. So you can submit content for any of the promotions, whether you're the mail owner or mail service provider or any other third party in that relationship. There are some differences when it comes to registration, but we can talk about that when we come to that. But in terms of the Mailing Promotions portal, there's a little more flexibility on who can submit. As long as you have an account and you create that account, you should be able to submit a mail piece here.
Okay, so let's hit next here, and then what do we see?
Because we are doing this content review here, you do have to upload your artwork or a sample that can include photos, it can include art files, so that we can easily review it. So for TSI, that will be a little bit different because of the physical sample, but let's say you're submitting for first-class mail advertising, you'd need to submit your artwork, and then we would validate whether you included a marketing message or not. And so you'd upload your artwork there and you'd submit it. Once you've done that, you'll get a summary screen, just confirming everything you've done so far. So this is a great opportunity. We really encourage you to slow down just like we did and really look at this screen and capture, what have I entered? Is this all accurate? And am I ready to submit? And if your answer to those questions is yes, then you can go ahead and submit. And so that takes you to this next screen here that we feel is really important. And so you're going to get an SR number, or service request number. And so we encourage you to keep this service request number safe for future reference. We're going to show you the next couple steps, how you can go back and actually check in the status of your service request. Now, every service request is also going to trigger some emails as well. So you'll be notified once the status has changed of your service request. So if it's been approved, or if it's been rejected, or if there's more questions, you'll be notified by the email that you put in, that your account is associated with in the portal. And then you can go ahead and click finish. So now I'm going to show you a little bit about checking the status and a little bit more about the interface here. So back on the home screen of the portal, the second tab, or the second button, is called My Promotions or Incentives. And so this is going to show you a list of service requests that have already been submitted, that you just went through that previous process and sent through. And so on the screen here, you're going to have kind of a toolbar, and that's different ways you can essentially filter your service requests. Some mailers might have thousands, some might just have a couple. So this is just to help you search for a service request. Now,
looks like you rejected yourself there, Carl, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So at the top of the screen, even, there will be a search bar. You can enter a service request number in as well. But you can see some information here. This is a summary really quickly, so you can see promotion type, what its status is, when it was opened, who it was opened by, if you have access to others, and so on. Once you click on an individual service request, you're going to see a whole bunch of details. And you can potentially see its status again. This is more detailed. You can see what you submitted yourself on the right, how it came through, and so on. So this is just to help you keep track of your own service request. And so
sure,
this
looks
is
a
just
lot like
one
Salesforce there, Carl.
Yeah, the portal is within a Salesforce platform. And so all the information, if you're familiar with Salesforce, it should be fairly intuitive.
Beautiful. All right. Okay. Now asking a question.
Yeah, so this is a functionality we really encourage people to use as well. In the past, we were talking about this on the pre-call, all of the promotions were managed manually, just with a spreadsheet. But through the mailing promotions portal, submitting a service request gets you access to a whole team of people who are trying to help you get a solution to your question or help you get approval of a mail piece. So if you go into this third tab or third button, it's going to look very similar to submitting a pre-approval request, but this is for just general questions. So if you're new to promotions and you just don't know, okay, I'm curious if something would qualify for TSI, but maybe I'm not quite ready to send in a physical sample, I can ask a question. Is this something that would be allowed for TSI? Is this, what's going on with the process? Maybe I don't remember something from the guidebook I've reviewed. Can I get more clarity on X, Y, Z? And so this is available for any active promotion. And then it's pretty free form in what you can ask. And then this will go to a team of experts who can help you get a solution. So this would be an optional field here in the question. You do have the opportunity to upload a file if needed. You can reference existing service requests if maybe you're struggling to find one in your portal and you can't see it, or maybe you're curious about the decision that was made. So you can actually utilize this functionality to reference an SR as well. And then same thing as the prior tab, you get a service request number for the question as well. And I don't go into checking on the status of it in the My Questions tab because it's almost identical to the Approvals tab. But back on that home screen, the fourth tab, if you go in there, that's where you can look at all of your question SRs.
Okay, let's take a pause there, folks. Was that helpful to everyone? Give me a yes in the chat if that step-by-step walkthrough that Carl did was helpful. I want to see the yeses coming in. Come on. There we go. Samantha says yes. Terry says yes. Ashley. I saw someone say yepers. That's good. Yes, thanks. You're welcome. Amelia, Sharon. Okay, good. All right. So, Carl, that was helpful. Looks like you're getting the folks here to really follow you along through that process. Talk to us now about registration.
Okay. So registration is what I was mentioning earlier about identifying to the Postal Service which mailings are taking advantage of the promotion or that I'd like to take advantage of the promotion, and identifying who I am as well. Just like the previous step, this is housed on the Business Customer Gateway. So once you're here, you're going to go ahead and log in again with your Business Customer Gateway account. So that'll be the same login for your gateway for all services. So you have that login, and then that's what gets you access to this Mailing Services tab in the top left. Then once you're in there, you're going to go not to the portal, but you're going to go to incentive programs. So I just want to reiterate, these are two separate programs within the gateway. Incentive programs, if you don't have access, so you can even see on this screen here. For example, I'm as a postal employee, I don't have access because I don't have a business account. If you select get access, what that's going to do is request access from the BSA of your account. You might be
what does
the
BSA stand for? Just
I believe it's Business Systems Administrator. And so they would be able to delegate access to these various services to you if you don't have it yourself. So then once you have access and you enter into the incentive programs tool, you're going to see a list of every active promotion. This screen only shows one because we took this screenshot. In the past, when only one was open, I actually can't get in there myself, so we get these from customers. That's why the date is a little bit outdated, but it still looks the same, where you're going to have a list within this screen of every active promotion. And at the top, you can see a link there to 2025 the Integrated Technology Promotion. So you'd select that. So yeah, we did have a little animation there we forgot about. But yeah, so that's where you're clicking, where that was circled. And so then you're going to get taken to the promotion screen. And so the key thing here, because there's a lot of detail in here, we didn't want to get too in-depth to create confusion. But to summarize, once you get into the promotion screen, you're going to have a bunch of different tabs on the left, each with their own unique information. The first one is additional contact information. That's just providing who you are, what your name is, how we can reach you. And then you get to the locations tab. That's identifying where you are, what CRIDs you're utilizing, what CRIDs this mailing will be utilizing. Then you get into payment accounts. So that's where you're going to see any permits that are linked to your CRIDs. And then, so once you complete all of those tabs, each tab will individually be marked as complete. It's going to show up as green. It's going to show up as complete. And this is really important. I didn't have a screenshot of it, but once all those tabs on the left are marked complete, a new tab will appear that says certification. So once you select that certification tab, you're going to see some legal language helping you recognize that I've read the requirements, I understand what I'm participating in. And once you agree to that, then you should get taken back to this screen. And the very top of your screen, in all caps, it'll say enrolled. If you notice that it says unenrolled on the top of your screen, that would mean you're not registered for the promotion. And you need to make sure that all of those different tabs have been completed. So just double check that everything on the left has been completed, every single individual tab.
Okay. All right. I'm slowing down here. Larry says, you're in 2025. What do the 2026 program requests look like? Carl, basically the same thing, right?
Yes, it should look identical to that 2025 screen there. The only thing that would be different is that the promotions that you see offered in that list.
Yep. So folks, those are the base promotions and how you set yourself up in the BCG. And as Chris mentioned at the start, you also have 2 add-ons you can use. The informed delivery is one of them, and sustainability is the other. AJ, I'd love for you to talk to us about the sustainability add-on and how folks take advantage of that here in the BCG.
Yeah, so we at Silvamo, we were super excited that the sustainability add-on was going to be extended into 2026. And we know it's a little bit confusing. So another thing that you're going to get in the kit is this one pager that will actually walk you through the step-by-step instructions. And it will have a couple of QR codes that you will see here. The first one actually takes you to that registration page that Carl mentioned. And then this just really shows the steps through the process. One of the confusing parts about the sustainability add-on is you do have to have the mill, the paper that you're using, their actual SFI or whatever the organization is, their certification. And so if you go to the next slide, we do have a QR code that will take you right there. So when you're asked to upload that documentation, you follow these steps right here. You can easily scan that QR code and it takes you right to our site. Sometimes it's hard to track down, but it takes you right to that site. You download what you need and get that uploaded to take advantage of that 1% add-on. We mentioned earlier that about 1 in 3 pieces of mail sent through the USPS is on our paper. So if you're not taking advantage of this, make sure you take a look at these instructions and capture that savings.
There we go, folks. So AJ, everything that we've talked about today requires paper, which is of course why Silvamo is here. And so I know that on top of the 5 to 12% that folks can save with the promotions, all the stuff that we just talked about, Silvamo has also created a special incentive for even more value on top of that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so something we love to talk about, like you mentioned, we love paper. You have to have paper to send mail. And one thing we're constantly thinking about is how can we keep paper relevant? And one way you can do that is combining print and technology to help keep paper relevant. And we partnered with Mindfire to create a solution to solve this problem called Intelligent Paper. And Intelligent Paper uses cutting-edge technology directly on your piece of mail with PQR codes and pearls to measure individual responses. And that's the important part. And all of this is powered by Mindfire technology. So no more spraying and praying. So we can actually get the data that you need to really justify the piece of mail. So what does that mean for you? And why is this so important? So with Intelligent Paper, you do get real-time visibility and individual response tracking. So you can optimize your campaign based on data. So if someone gets your piece of mail, scans that PQR code, and goes to the site, you can see who did it. You can see when they did it. You can see if they might have started whatever call to action you had, but didn't finish it. And so you can take that data and optimize your campaign. So maybe you send a postcard to that person. So with Intelligent Paper, we're doing a pilot program right now where we will help pay for the technology for you guys to test it out and really prove out this concept, prove out the ROI of mail, and continue to send mail.
So in a nutshell, you use Silvamo paper and you get Mindfire omnichannel tracking technology along with it, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Is that making sense, folks? Give me a yes in the chat if that's making sense there. This is another value on top of the 512% that we just shared with you. Okay, I see the yeses coming in. Robin says yes. Okay, now AJ, what's this here?
Yeah, also included in the kit is actual Intelligent Paper. It's really cool because you will get in the kit a welcome letter. And a couple of things about the welcome letter. You will have your own Silvamo sales rep. So depending on where you live, you'll have a picture of that rep. So please reach out to your local Silvamo sales rep if you've got questions on anything that you learned today. We also have the USPS contact information. If you have a question there, all of that's there. So you you scan the QR code and you will be taken to your own personal dashboard. And with this dashboard, you will actually see the engagement on our direct mail campaign. So you will see who from your peers on this call, who is engaging with this piece, and a little bit of a peek behind the curtains on the technology. So we have a little video. Dave and I are on the video to walk you through some of the technology, but really the important part is all this data. So you're going to see who's engaging and what that data looks like. So please play with the piece, play with the PQR codes, and don't hesitate to reach out to your Sylvamo sales rep if you want more information or if you have questions. We can sit down with you and walk you through the piece.
So drop Intelligent Paper in the chat if you'd like us to follow up with you and talk more about this. Again, the offer is very simple. Print the direct mail on Sylvamo paper. Many of you are already doing that. I go into your shop floor, like Chris was talking about earlier. I do the same thing. I look around. Of course, I see Sylvamo there. And most of you have never connected that, hey, if I'm using Sylvamo paper for my customer's campaign already, I could be getting these technology facets completely subsidized. You've never made that connection until now. So on top of the postage savings, you're also getting this additional margin, in essence, that Sylvamo is contributing to that picture. Now, one of the stats that's missing here, AJ, is how many trees you're planting. So tell us about the trees.
Yeah, so this is something else we are excited to talk about. So for every person who registers for our webinars, we are planting 5 trees. I think the last time I look at the registration for today, I think we're going to be planting over 3,700 trees. And we partner with VeraTree on this, and we can send you the website, but this slide here just shows the impact, just having you guys join us and learn the impact that it's got in some of these communities.
That's a lot of trees, AJ. Get ready.
I'm going to be tired.
Yeah, you are. All right. So we have the 5 to 12%. Carl, USPS, thank you for that. Sylvamo, we have the Intelligent Paper incentive, which adds additional value. Chris, I don't want to leave you out of the fun, man. What is BCC doing to help?
So we've heard from our customers loud and clear. They're excited about these promotions. They want to be part of this excitement. They don't want that fear of being left out. They want to be part of this. But they've told me 3 important things. They said, Chris, 1, I don't really know how to register for these promotions or I don't have the time to do that. And 2, I don't know how to sell this, right? My sales reps are used to selling ink and paper and binding. This is out of their wheelhouse. And 3, how do I make money on this, right? Because most of my customers, as I said before, are mail service providers. So they're trying to understand, hey, how does this grow my business? How does this help me with this? And so we heard what you said loud and clear, and we put together a technology, a solution that we think is going to help our customers. And there's 2 parts to it. The first is what's on the screen here, an ROI calculator that allows you to very easily have a conversation with your customer and look at what the power is of leveraging these promotions. Now, this tool will be available to everybody. Everyone in the world will be able to have access to this tool free of charge. It's simply you put in the date of the mailing, what is the campaign name, what type of mail piece is it, okay, and then how many pieces are involved here. And already, based on just that information, it's going to be able to tell you these are the promotions that are available based on that time frame. This is what the average response rate typically is when you're using this. And as you start to explore what that value is going to be as a mail service provider, you can say, if you would like me, customer, to add this incremental value for this piece, this is my charge. In other words, if you want just a basic direct mail piece with a 3 to 5% response rate, here's the price. If you'd like to make a 5 to 7% response rate, this is the price. If you want to do 7 to 10, this is the price. What this does is it gets the mail service provider engaged in the value, the purpose of the piece. And so as you have that conversation and your customer says, yeah, I want to be part of that opportunity. I want to get into that higher response rate. I want to leverage the informed delivery. Great. And so at that point, then you would click and you go into the next part of the tool. And this is the part where it starts to speak to that first one. Chris, I don't know how to do it. There's all these pages, there's all this information I need to send to the Postal Service to register for this. Guess what? Most of that information is already in your pre-sort software now. All the mids, the crids, the stids, oh my, all that's in there. So why not leverage that data so we can create a payload, a package that's uploaded to the Postal Service, right? And that's what part 2 is on this, a way for you to be able to very easily bring that information, upload to the Postal Service, let the BCC support team help you with that, right? Because that's what we're here to help, and put that information in there so that you're able to easily register for these before you're working with it, all behind the scenes being done with an API tool that the Post Service has been developing that'll be releasing here very soon. And also with this, after you've uploaded this and you saw Carl showed you the screenshots through the portal, that information through this API will be available to you in a BC dashboard. Now you can see in a one simple, easy view, these are all the campaigns that I'm doing for my various customers, my various mail owners, where those campaigns are going out, how many pieces are involved, what the additional value and revenue that I'm helping to generate for my customer and for my business as I'm doing these campaigns. And if you click on the next screen, you can go deeper into this to see all those service requests that Carl was talking about. So I can see, where am I at? Where's the status on these different requests? Because again, BCC software and our support team is helping to shepherd the payload of that data back and forth. So our support team is working with the Postal Services support team so that you, as the mail service provider, can focus on what you do best, helping to add value to the mail piece for your customer and growing your business. So stay tuned. This is going to be launched very soon. We're just waiting for the Post Service to finish up one of the APIs for this, but all that stuff will be handled behind the scenes for you so that you can easily take advantage of this. But remember that ROI calculator, everybody gets access to it. It's just this other part where it pulls that payload of data, either manually or through the BCC software. That'll be part of the additional piece.
So Carissa is going to roll the poll here. And if you're interested in learning more about BCC Impact, give us a quick yes on that poll. I'm going to leave it up for a few seconds. And Chris, as you were talking there, it occurs to me that there might be somebody in the audience thinking, didn't Carl just walk us through how to do that?
Yeah.
Yes, in the BCG. Yes, you saw all the steps. Carl did a great job there. Absolutely. This simplifies it because so many of you are already using BCC, and a lot of that data that Carl needs in the BCG and all those steps that you saw, it's already inside your BCC software. This simplifies it, the layer on top of all of the beautiful stuff that USPS has made to simplify the process.
Yep, that's exactly right. And so whether you're using the BCC bulk mailer product, the mail manager product, the Ignite solution, the idea here is that it will pull, this is a separate tool, okay? So this is a separate tool, but it pulls that data, right? Either you're putting in information manually or it's pulling the data as we continue to build the solution out here, leveraging the API with the Postal Service. The key in all of it, though, is it's to make it a lot easier for you to be able to participate in these promotions, because all that information, like I said, the mids, the crids, the stids, the buy fours, all that information that is so essential to make sure that the piece is registered properly, it's already residing in your pre-sort software. So it made sense to us to have a tool that allowed you to be able to easily and seamlessly enroll in this, keep an eye on those service requests, and then also that ROI tool. Don't forget that's available to everybody so you can continue that conversation and get engaged in what the value of these promotions really mean for that purpose of the piece.
Perfect. So Carissa, let's leave it up for 5 more seconds and then bring that down. And folks, we're going to now turn the page here. Let's close that up. Carissa, thank you for that. We'll get that over to the BC team and we'll make sure that all of you get the follow-up that you're looking for there. Thank you for that. We're going to turn the corner now and go into Q&A. All right. So what we're going to do is answer all your questions. If you've got a question, take a moment to think through. I'm sure some of you have taken a bunch of notes. I've actually taken a bunch of notes as Carl was going through stuff. I'm sure you've done the same. And if your question hasn't been answered, please take a moment to put it there in the chat or check the Q&A box to see if the question was already asked, okay? If it was, give us an upvote and we'll prioritize in order to touch on that in the order of priority that's important to all of you. While you are doing that, I want to make sure you're aware of some resources. AJ, what are the resources that you've made available here?
Yes. So we do have a resource hub. I put the link in the chat just a second ago, but the recording, the slides, any resources we've talked about today, you can find them probably starting tomorrow. And we will also send a follow-up email to everybody who registered with this same information. So you will get access to everything that we talked about today.
Wonderful. Thank you for doing that, AJ. Thank you for doing that, Silvamo. I'm going to give you folks another moment. I see some of the upvotes coming in. Take a moment. We know that it takes a little bit of time sometimes to formulate your question. Throw that there into the chat. While you're doing that, I hope you can multitask here. I'm going to ask you another question. Carissa, if you don't mind bringing up this poll, what we want to know from you, as you're thinking about the question that you have for us, what additional topics would you like us to bring you insight on? If you got value out of the panel today from Chris and AJ and Carl, then we want to continue to lean into that and bring you more of what's important to you. There's a few things here on the screen. mail growth incentive, mail reimagined. There's probably some new words here. I want to tell you what each of these means. Chris, what is the mail growth incentive?
Mail growth incentive. So incentives and promotions are separate. They're totally different things. Okay. So the mail growth incentive is all about earning credits for use of in future mailings if you increase your volume above a certain threshold. So if you're doing at least 1 million pieces in total for a whole calendar year, okay, for either first class mail or marketing mail, and you can enroll in both, but they're separate. But if you're doing at least 1 million pieces and you grow above your baseline of the prior year, for every piece above that, you'll get the 30% credit or discount or amount that the average per piece, and then that goes into a bucket. So think of it like earning frequent flyer mail miles or frequent mailing, right? Dollars, and you can spend those right in the next calendar year. You've got 1 year to spend those credits that you earn, and it's a great way to be able to grow your mail volume and reduce postage to try some different things, especially if you use the promotions. Double up on that. It's a great way to do it.
That's the mail growth incentive. That's the first one there on the list. Now, the second, mail reimagined. Chris, what is that?
I was so thrilled to hear last week that the Postal Service is, and in fact, this was Steve Monteith, the Chief Marketing and Customer Engagement Officer, had said, you know what, it's been decades, right, since we've decided, hey, you have to have 10 pieces in a bundle to make a catalog, a marketing mail bundle, and 6 pieces in periodical. And these are the shapes and the sizes that run in the equipment. You know what, maybe it's time. With all this incentives, with all these promotions, with all this value that we're generating with direct mail, let's sit down with a blank sheet of paper and reimagine what mail could look like, right? Let's take out of the shadows things like magalogs and fletters and things like that, these little niche areas where you've got a piece that looks like a flat, but it really mails like a letter. And you've got this thing that's a magazine, but it's really more like a catalog. All these different, it's time to rethink all of it. Why not? Because digital and physical are better together. These promotions work. People are innovative. Let's have a blank sheet of paper and just start Silvamo paper, and let's just start reimagining what that mail could look like.
Now, the marketing insights or market insights there, the third option, AJ, this is something that you and I talk a lot about. When Chris and I and all of us are with customers, there is a very intentional selection of target markets that many of our customers that are printers are looking at in order to sell more direct mail to, right? Many of you go through that process of identifying your target markets. Some of you are making those decisions in the absence of real data. And so what we're thinking, AJ and I have been talking about this, is what if we bring to you some of those market insights? So AJ, anything you want to share on that idea and how we might make that a webinar topic?
Yeah, so at Silvamo, we're constantly studying the verticals. We like to know what verticals are investing in mail, what verticals are declining in mail, and that really helps us prioritize our time. But as a print service provider, that data could also be really valuable to you guys as you think about what target accounts you're focusing on. So would like to share some of that data with you and help put together a sales plan to go out and grow direct mail.
So that would be market insights. That's the third. And then the fourth is artificial intelligence. And that's obviously frothy. It's buzzy. Everybody's talking about it. But we can bring you tactical, hands-on examples of how AI is being used to drive direct mail results. I talked to you about the talking mail, the mail that actually talks back to you. That's powered by AI. So we can do more to bring you what you need to know to not only be conversant with this technology, but start to lead the market in ways that very few are doing. So that would be the artificial intelligence opportunity there. And then Carl, what is direct effect? That's the next to last one there. What is that all about?
Sure. So direct effect is a USPS offering. It's a really fun and exciting program. We offer it free to colleges and universities across the country. And so it's a program that we have to teach primarily marketing students, but really all sorts of students, the value of direct mail, and that it truly is a modern way to do your marketing. When you combine it with all these other channels, it still has a lot of success, and we try to help them in their future careers as marketers. So we have case competitions, we have free online courses. It's a variety of different resources that people can take advantage of. If that's a program you're interested in, please feel free to reach out. It's really fun, it's really exciting. Again, it's a free public service. No, not a lot of commitment or anything, but it's a really great program.
Chris, at NPF, what did you all do with that?
So we had a challenge, a direct effect challenge, where we brought in 100 students, 16 different college universities, right, Carl? And they all came together, and at the National Postal Forum, they put together a campaign. So they competed with each other for two different brands. It was Chick-fil-A and, help me out, Carl,
Geico.
what was
Geico.
Geico, thank you. Yes, Geico. And so the students were able to put together their direct effect challenge to see what was creative. Loved it, because now the students not only were participating in this, they were rubbing shoulders with the titans of the industry, right? All the people that were at MPF, the movers and shakers in this mailing industry. And so they were walking around, talking to everybody, feeling the buzz, that postal passion that we have at the National Postal Forum. And what an exciting way to get these bright young minds with our arms around them. Come on into the mailing industry. It's awesome. A great time to join us.
So that's direct effect. And then the last one here is you're always asking for data, stories, examples of how your peers are doing this. It's easy to hear from Dave, all jacked up on the postage promotions, or Chris, who's got all these criticisms that he shares with us, or AJ, and you're like, okay, you guys are all insiders, right? What about somebody who's actually on the street selling this stuff, making money with it, doing it? That would be the last option here, the customer success story from a mail owner, somebody who does direct mail and uses that for their organization, or from a print service provider, how they're leaning into the things that we're talking about here today. That will be the last option. So I'm going to leave this up for another 5 seconds. It looks like there is a 3-way tie here right now. Holy cow, folks. Bring it up on the screen. If you haven't voted yet, we don't want any ties. We got to have a clear winner here. Carissa, I'm going to ask you to leave this up for 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Carissa, go ahead and end the poll. And you all might find this interesting. Let me share the results with you all here. I'm going to bring that up so that you can all see this. It looks like, what do we have here, AJ?
It's like the mail growth incentive and artificial intelligence.
Yeah, with Mail Reimagined, a close third place, huh?
Well, and to get a little head start on the mail growth incentive, you can visit our resource page and watch our workshop and our webinar from last year, just to get a head start on that.
Yeah, very true. That was a very passionate webinar. I remember that one.
Yes,
all right, folks, thank you for doing that. If there's another topic that wasn't mentioned there, feel free to drop that in the chat. And now we're going to go to your questions here. Chris, as you were looking at the chat, what stood out to you in terms of what people were still confused by or wanted to know more? Did you see something?
I think a lot of the questions that I saw in the chat really could be answered by the guidebooks that the Postal Service put forward, right? So they've got these guidebooks that are out there that really answer a lot of these questions. And in fact, that tool that I talked about earlier that BCC is launching here soon has a way for you to click on that tool and it will bring up those guides. And of course, you can always, if that doesn't have the answer, call your customer support rep. They've got the answer. They can help you. The Postal Service can help you with that. So I think that was one thing that stood out. I also agree, and AJ mentioned it, that the growth incentive is still a hot topic. There's a lot of people that want to understand that better. The workshop that we did before, I think, really covers a lot in that. So do take advantage of it. And that growth incentive is going to continue all year long here. So now's the time, January 22nd. If you've got a customer that did not take advantage of this, but you think they may be in the realm of doing it, get them registered as soon as possible.
Carl, you'll probably correct me on this. Chris, you have a better memory than I do, but I believe that around $500 million worth of credits were issued last year. Is that correct?
I believe so.
That's correct.
So we're not talking small amount of money here, folks. This is significant. $500 million or thereabouts that your peers, that your competitors are tapping into. And the vast majority of companies, again, Carl and Chris, keep me honest here, but the vast majority of companies who qualify for this are simply not using it.
Yeah. That's the number one thing that we saw, is that there are many mail owners that would qualify for this that did not take advantage of it. And I want to clarify something because I saw it in the chat as well. So the mail owner is who gets the credit, not the mail service provider. Okay. So it goes to the mail owner, the benefactor of the mailing. However, the mail owner can then decide with those credits if they want to give some of them to the mail service provider. They can do that. They can say, hey, you know what, Post Service, give this amount of credits to this MSP because they're the ones that brought me to the dance. They're the ones that helped me get registered for this. They're the ones that are going to help me use these credits that I have sitting now in a bank that I got 12 months to use on some innovative solutions with these promotions. Maybe I'm going to try an A/B test. Maybe I'm going to do something a little bit different with it. So you as an MSP, you absolutely are a stakeholder in this, even though you're not directly getting the credits that are generated. That mail owner, that customer of yours, they're going to remember you're the one that helped them. They're going to be the ones that are going to say, you know what, I'm going to share some of this with you, and we're going to do something really cool with these promotions.
Yep. I see Mark. Hey, Mark, it's good to see you here asking, can we please provide these questions and their answers to the attendees? This has been a really good conversation. AJ, I know we're planning on doing something like that for folks. Is that right?
Yep. So we can definitely provide that sort of information.
Awesome. And then, Chris, I'm going to throw this one to you. Fair question, fair statement from Larry. Yeah. I think it's tied to the MGI, the Male Growth Incentive, the $500 million that's being given back. Carl, plug your ears for a second, right? And the question here is saying this is coming from an entity that can't pay their bills. You and I heard from David Steiner directly last week. Share with the audience here what we picked up from him on that.
So two things on it. One is I misspoke a little bit. I was jumping the gun. The registration for a male growth incentive is March, but now is when you should be starting to talk to your customer and get ready for it. So I'll backtrack a little bit on that and cover my tracks. What we did hear from the PMG last week is that the Postal Service is their predictions right now is that they could run out of cash in 14 months. So in early 2027, if nothing changes, they are on a path to be in a cash dangerous situation in early 2027. So they need to do something. And this is where the industry needs to continue to work with them and help with that part. The Postal Service can reduce some of their costs. That's what pre-sorting is all about. That's what work sharing is all about. That's what these promotions can actually help, because it starts to grow the value of the mail so that mail owners will start to hopefully take advantage of the growth with that. So that was the scary news with it. That's just, again, that's assuming that nothing else is done. So there's an opportunity to cut some costs. There's an opportunity for the industry to educate the Postal Regulatory Commission on what we think postage pricing could be tied to. Maybe the days of CPI and these adders are over, and it's time to reimagine that too into something that makes more sense for the network. I will also tell you one other positive thing that we heard last week as well, and that is the peak mailing season. So yes, a lot of changes for Delivering for America plan was rolled out in the last 2 years, but I will tell you that some of the challenges that we saw at the RPDCs, the SNDCs, the OMNG, right? All these different entry points, a lot of those problems have really worked out, and we're seeing improvements across the board. I have my opinion on who I think has been instrumental on that. I'll leave it there, but I think we're in a better place right now in terms of the mail processing. But the best way to do that, to track that, is with tracking mail pieces. So continue to track mail pieces, take advantage of the track and trace services that are available. But again, to the theme of today's webinar, get those conversations about promotions and the incentive, because that's how we're going to grow the value of mail, and that's how we're going to help our postal partners.
Yep, absolutely. Carl, as you look through the chat, are there any here? I see you answering in the Q&A, and you've been active in the chat as well. Anything that you want to underscore for folks? Any areas of confusion that you think you might want to retouch on here?
Yeah, I want to talk about TSI really briefly in terms of the physical submission process. So as we went through the submissions in the portal, I mentioned the TSI would look a little different. After you submit a request for TSI, you're going to get a follow-up email that's unique, and that it tells you where to send a physical sample in. And so I got a couple questions on what exactly needs to be sent in. Ideally, it's the full piece, that like as close to final as possible. We understand that sometimes maybe artwork's behind and you can just send a prototype. The key thing is to see the treatment. So if you have the embossing ready, if you have the spot gloss ready, if you have whatever you're trying to get approved ready, that's the key element you need to see. You could always upload artwork after, and we can review the artwork independently. And then in terms of a couple small things, I saw questions in terms of eligibility. I wanted to clarify one thing on gloss. That was a good question. So we do allow for what we call spot gloss, and then flood gloss came up. So the key thing is that the whole piece isn't just a gloss paper, because then it wouldn't be standing out. We want to see some contrast here. That's really what we're looking for. So a flood gloss would be okay as long as it's one side of the piece. A spot gloss would be okay. But if it's just a paper stock that might be a little bit glossy, that's where we might not be able to approve that. So that's really what we're looking for in terms of gloss, and then the physical samples.
Question from Tito. I'm going to give this one to you, Carl, if you're okay with this. Can you use the credits earned in the mail growth incentive in the same year?
So I can't speak too much to the growth incentive, so I don't want to misspeak. I can provide a link to some resources for the growth incentive. It is managed by a different team at the Postal Service, adjacent to our team. Yeah. I'd rather just make sure you get the best information.
Yeah.
I'll lobby that to you, Chris.
Yeah, so the short answer is yes. The timing is going to be key, because the Postal Service does start handing out credits mid-year based on what you mailed up to that point. My advice would be, don't spend those yet. because there's a weird way that it works out and can end up being to your disadvantage. But the short answer to the question is yes, you can get credits and spend those in the same year with that. But credits go through three different phases. They're earned, they're allocated, and then they're used. Okay, so the credits are earned, they go into a bucket, then the mail owner has to allocate them and decide what permits they're going to go to, including the mail service provider that brought them to the dance, and then they have to be used. And as far as the used part of that goes, technically they could be used in that year. My recommendation is use that in the following year. You get a bigger bang out of those.
Perfect. Carl, I know you got to leave in 15 minutes. You have a flight to catch. So I'm just going to hold all of you back for 15 minutes. Folks, don't drop off yet. I'm trying to get to as many of the questions as possible. Carrie Joe is asking, will political mail qualify for the first class mail promotion? Does an attached survey card as part of the interactive promotion? Does an attached survey card qualify, I think, as part of the interactive promotion? Carl?
Yeah, I can address both of those. Political mail, as long as you're in an eligible mail class, for example, if you're participating in a promotion such as TSI, that's marketing mail and first class mail, your political mail meets those requirements, parameters, as well as meeting the promotions parameters, then you'll be good to go. There's no restriction on political mail. And then in terms of interactivity with such a card or something along those lines, now a normal just BRM, for example, wouldn't qualify, but we have something we refer to, it has a couple different names, a tip-on card or a clean release card that you can pull off the piece, put it on your fridge, put it in your wallet. We do see that as an interactive element. And really quick, because I'm in stride, I see a question on TED C, so trailing edge die cut. So those will continue to be eligible. I don't have exact breakdowns on that, but it is a popular treatment. You can have that interactive element with some sort of detachable card. It does have to be perforated or glued on so that it's clear, like easy to take off. You can't just add dotted lines to a piece to qualify. But if it's truly detachable, creating that interactivity, it would qualify.
Lynn, what a nice comment. Thank you so much. Lynn says, this has been a wonderful session. They keep getting better and better. Lynn, nice. What stood out to you? What's made an impression on you? What's been helpful to you? And for the rest of you, like Lynn, if you feel this was useful, AJ and I and the production team, Carissa, and everybody who's involved in putting these together, we want to know what's working for you. So please let us know there in the chat, Lynn. I'm glad to hear that it's getting better and better. Chris, this next question is from Kevin. Yep. Kevin says, is the BCC tool a separate app or will it be a part of bulk mailer?
It's a separate app. So it's a separate app. And I want you to, again, the ROI calculator, everybody has access to that. There's a separate app that's related to it, same web type technology that allows you to interface through API technology with the Postal Service. That's separate from bulk mailer, mail manager, Ignite, but it will be interacting between those products so that it pulls and pushes the data that you've already got in there with that. So it's a separate tool. Real quick on the Tactile Sentry. So Bluecrest, by the way, if you want to see a piece of technology that actually does this, Bluecrest does have a machine with a clean release card. So if you're interested in just kind of looking at, hey, what does something like that even look like? Bluecrest, I know, has technology that does that.
AJ, as you've looked through the questions, what are you seeing that stands out to you? Any questions that you think are unanswered here?
I think what I see is a little bit of housekeeping. So if you want the kit, make sure you include your address. On that, we mailed out over 800 on Monday. So I bet we've captured a lot of your mailing addresses. But if we haven't, we will get that added and sent out as soon as possible. And then as you get it, which should be any day now, take a picture, tag me on LinkedIn, tag Silvamo.
Oh, what a great idea.
I want to see you guys engage with the piece. Again, just please include your mailing address so I can make sure and get you on the list.
Fantastic. I see Brenda saying they are getting better, or they do get better. It would be great to capture all the questions that your guests are asking and the answers that were given. Brenda, yeah, we heard that from Mark as well, I believe. And certainly, not only are you giving us a lot of feedback in the session, folks, but when you registered, hundreds and hundreds of questions came in. So we're very thankful for all of that. Carissa is dropping in, AJ, your LinkedIn profile here. Folks, connect with AJ. And some of you have to leave for another meeting, no problem. Chris, is there anything else that stands out to you there in the chat? And folks, if you asked a question and we haven't answered it yet, just copy and repaste it back in there into the Q&A or into the chat. I want to make sure we answer it for you. I'm just going to hold you a few more minutes here, folks. But Chris, anything else that stood out to you?
The interest, the engagement continues to maintain high. It continues to be very high, exciting. And so I'm thrilled about that. I'm thrilled about the opportunities moving forward. I'm excited when we launch the tool that I talked about with BCC. And I want to see everyone in 101 days in Phoenix, Arizona at the National Postal Forum, where we continue this conversation maybe we start to go, maybe you can attend some of the workshops where we talk about some of the case studies and how people are doing this and the direct effect challenge. I believe we're doing that again at Phoenix. So looking forward to all those bright minds understanding and realizing the power that direct mail has.
So in 101 days, are we going to see you dancing on stage again, Chris? That's the question.
We have not decided. In fact, I'm going to be talking to my fellow board members here this afternoon to see what Karen McCormick is thinking. She's the executive director. Hey, whatever it takes, right? If she wants me dancing, singing, it's up to
Let's do it.
I don't know about that, but yeah, maybe dancing.
Let's do it.
I got to get my ROI out of my cowboy boots I bought in Nashville.
Yeah, that's true. You need to maximize that. All right, folks, I want to know, did you get value out of today? Give me a yes in the chat. Let us know what stood out to you. Give us some feedback. Did you get value? Did you learn something new? Did you learn something that maybe coming into the session you didn't know? I'm seeing the yeses. Yes, 100%. Yes. Matt. Hey, Matt. Matt saying yes. Fernando saying yes. I want to make sure that you got the answers that you're looking for. Barry is saying the app won't allow me to copy and paste my question on the continuous contact promotion. Does somebody know what Barry's question is? Does anybody know that? If not, if you can, I'm sorry, you might have to retype that. Catherine says, very helpful. I got to run. Go Patriots. Thanks again.
In our follow-up email, we will include a quick survey. So encourage everyone to fill that out for us, and that will just help us continue to improve.
Carl, by chance, do you know what the question was on continuous contact from Barry?
I was looking for it. I could not find it, though.
Okay. Barry, sorry, if you can type that out again real quick. We want to make sure we answer that for you. AJ, lots of folks want the kit, huh?
Yeah, it's exciting. I hope they see it as valuable as we do. So I think it'll be really helpful.
Lots of homes and offices to visit and lots of trees for you to plant. You got a lot going on.
That.
All right. I want to make sure we get that continuous contact question answered. We'll stick around here a few more moments. Carl, before you drop off, is there anything else that you would like to share with the folks that are here?
No, we appreciate participation and interest in the promotions. Really do feel it's a win-win situation for everybody involved. And we're always looking for feedback for what the future holds.
All right. We got Barry's question. And Carl, thank you. We appreciate you being here as well. I have a campaign that will have 20 to 25 6x11 letters. How much info for each mailing has to be presented on the front end of the campaign in order for it to qualify for the discount?
Okay. So with continuous contact, and I'll just remind everybody, so all the promotions except for TSI, all you're doing is submitting digital files or photos, that nature. So for continuous contact, you're going to submit your initial artwork and you'll identify that to us. And then you'll submit as many artworks as you can in advance. We ask for at least 2 up front. And so you just upload them within a service request. And then all we're doing is looking to see that they're related to one another. There's a few other things that are exclusive or that go broadly across the promotions. Like you can't promote going paperless, of course. That would just be a little counterintuitive to what we're trying to achieve. But that in general, you can upload multiple images or multiple mail pieces in one service request to show that connection.
Barry says, my campaign will run 6 months. All of the artwork will not be completed in the beginning.
Yeah.
We know that's often the case, Barry.
Yeah, and you can, so we have that functionality where you can refer back to an existing service request. So you can just open a new SR and then refer back to that initial, and then they'll give you input on just connecting those different SRs. So Carl, no worries. As long as you have 2 up front, you should be okay.
Yeah. Awesome, Barry. Did we hit that for you, Barry? I want to make sure you got exactly what you needed there. Carl, Matt's question, do you want to talk about that one?
I can't speak to that right now, but what I will say is the Postal Service always looks at the success of, we've seen the success of the promotions in recent times. So keeping that in mind for strategic decisions in the future.
Yeah. And Chris, as you were saying, USPS folks is really listening to industry, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a whole user group number 8 within MTech where these conversations are actively occurring. And it's a great user group. It's been going strong for a while now, and this is that user group. These promotions are a direct result of that feedback, that engagement, that communication that's taking place. So again, thanks to our postal partners for listening. Thanks for being the partners to help make this happen. Thanks for an opportunity, really, to engage direct marketers and make sure that they understand the power that direct mail has and the visibility and attribution that we have now. It's a whole new game, folks. Great opportunity to take full advantage of this.
Yep. AJ, are there any questions that you have for the audience before we let everyone go here? Anything else you want to know from the assembled faithful here?
Oh, I would just say if questions pop up in your kit, you will have your Sylvamo sales rep. Reach out, use them. We've got, if we don't know the answer, we've got a lot of friends who will. So please use us to get your questions answered.
Carl, I want to say thank you to you, sir, for your time and your commitment to the industry and being here with us today. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you. It looks like Christopher is also appreciative of you. Thank you. This is an amazing panel. You all did an awesome job. Wayne is saying thank you all so much for the collaboration and for your time in putting on this presentation. We've got an amazing team behind the scenes, including Carissa and many others who work really hard to bring you this information, folks. I'm glad it was helpful to you. Chris, Lean, as always, thank you for the wisdom that you've shared with us. Thank you for the passion that you have behind everything that you do. Are there any wise words that you want to leave the audience with today?
Mail early, mail often, take advantage of the promotions, and see me in Phoenix.
Wise words indeed. All right. Thank you, AJ, again for Sylvamo's effort here and everything that you've done to bring this information to the community. We couldn't be more grateful and honored to be able to serve you and work with you in this capacity. And I hope that the input that everyone gave us there in that poll helps you and me and the team figure out what we want to do to bring the community next to continue making this investment. So thank you, AJ, for everything you're doing. You can say you're welcome.
You're welcome, Dave.
And lastly, folks, thank you to all of you for your time. We know that it's very valuable. We know you've got a lot going on, and we just are so appreciative of you investing in this time and in this community here. Let's continue the conversation. Carissa, again, one more time, drop in our LinkedIn profiles there into the chat. You have our emails. You know how to reach us. Make sure to keep coming back to these events because we're going to continue to get better and better at bringing you what you need. Stephanie, I see your question here. Would love a copy of the chat. If that's something you can save or download, we'll look into that, Stephanie. We want to serve you, so let us know. No question is off the table. No question is out of bounds. Let us know how we can help you. Connect with us on LinkedIn. And until the next episode, have a wonderful rest of the day, folks, and see you all very soon. Bye-bye, everyone.